Hello, sweethearts. Let us manifest. Let us hold the Buddha in our hands. Welcome to Fieros Reborn. I'm just going to show you my newly painted eyes on the Buddha. He looks a bit like Michael Jackson. Oh, he's totally me. Hold on, let me try and get my face angle right. If I get his head right up close, then it'll be the same size as mine. Hold on. Come on, Buddha. Look at the camera. Okay, so he's like the good-looking version of me. Look at him, happy little face. Double chin, isn't it? He's got a double chin. Loads of necks. 4 necks. No, 3 necks. 1, 2, 3 necks. Double chin. Man, we look eerily similar actually, like if I try and emulate it. I'm going to try and get his lips right as well. Hello, I'm the Buddha. So I drew his little eyes on her last night because I was like, it looks like he's looking at you, innit? Hello. Come on, Buddha. Get in focus, please. If I get my face out of the way, then maybe he'll go in focus. Come on. It's getting blurry every time he goes near it. Oh. Well, yeah, because he's had like this kind of sorry about that. He had nothing in his eyes to begin with, which I thought was a bit disconcerting because it's like he doesn't have any eyes. There we go. He didn't actually have any eyes before. Like before, it was just all gold, and it didn't have a sense of a iris or a pupil or the white bit, whatever you call that bit. So he was just like, kind of, you couldn't tell whether his eyes were, I don't know. He just didn't have any eyes. He just was blank in the eyes. So it was kind of weird, you know. So you're thinking, oh, okay, what is he asleep? Asleep with his eyes open, but he just doesn't have any eyes. He's just got blank in the eyes. So I thought I'd put some in there, and now it makes him look eerily alive. But that's cool, you know. I'm a bit worried that now that I've made him, like, put eyes on him, he's constantly awake. So I'm gonna have to put a hat over him or something, like, to let him have some sleep, eh? Isn't it, Buddha? Hmm? Yeah, hello. See, I do believe he's a real spirit being. He's got a real spirit in there, and it shines through. And you can connect with him. I've done this before in other videos, but you can connect with him or her. Sometimes he feels like a her, to be fair. Masculine and feminine energies in one being, eh? And you connect with him as though he's a real being, because he is. And sometimes he gives you helpful advice, like he tells you to go and do something, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, good idea. But mostly he's just like, I feel him to be a healing influence. Yes. I don't know why I'm holding you like this. I have to hold you in some way if I'm going to get my eyes close to you, isn't it? Oh, yeah. So I don't find it uncanny that he looks like he's real. I think that's good. I'm going to put him on this, which is totally going to fall over at some point, but maybe not. But we're leaving the background there. So that he can watch over the proceedings. I've also got some heart chakra healing music on at the moment in the background, very quietly, but I don't know if you can hear that or not, but I can kind of hear it in the background. Normally I find that kind of distracting, but I'm just going to try and roll with it. I think it will set a sort of atmosphere of some kind. I just hope it's not too loud for you. I can hear it. Oh, the Buddha guy. You can't really see it, but he looks He looks happy, I suppose. Yeah. What? What would you want me to talk about? Hmm? Don't mind, do you? No. He's looking at me. He's looking at the picture of me on there. He's not interested in my actual face. He's just watching the screen. Well, let's get him more closer up, shall we? Come on then, Buddha. Yeah? You want to get in there? Be in the corner? Like that as a presence? Hmm? My little my little friend. This is like Mr. Garrison and that Mr. Hat, isn't it? Is it Mr. Hat that he has? Oh, I can't remember. Alright. Now you can't even see his eyes. Oh, you can, yeah, kind of. I can see them anyway. So what do you want me to talk about? Hmm? You don't care? You look really, really real now. Hmm. He looks like he's breathing inside. And everyone will have a different relationship with the Buddha statue. Like, it's a very personal thing. So the spirit of the Buddha will commune with you and connect with you in a different way to how it connects with me, for example, how he connects with me. Isn't it? You're very chilled out today. He's saying get on with the video and tell the story. Yeah, alright, fine. Okay, well, stop taking the limelight then. He's like, I'm not taking the limelight, you're just focusing on me too much. Okay, manifest. Right. Let's just make sure I'm fully in the screen. Yes, fine. So, I'm knackered. I'm totally knackered. I've been doing this crap for ages and ages and ages now, and I think that I'm feeling grief is probably what is the best way to describe it, but it doesn't really feel... I feel like grief is... Maybe this is a manifestation of grief, but it doesn't feel like the real deep sadness of grief. It just feels like the exhaustion, you know, when you're exhausted from grief. And this doesn't really feel much different to being just tired in general. It feels just drained in the top part of my chest, and I wish I hadn't started smoking. No, I cancel that. I wish I had stopped smoking after a year which is what I'd initially decided to. I thought, all right, I'll smoke for a year and then I'll stop. And I did stop, and then I started again. So I wish I'd just given up at that point, because I think I liked being a smoker. Okay, being a smoker brought me different things in life to not being a smoker. So it got me to be able to talk to loads more people. It was a very, very sociable thing to do. But then if you've watched my videos for any length of time, you'll know that it made me fucking angry. Very, very angry, to the point where I got in a few fights, which I'm probably going to have to talk about those in depth at some other point in the future, because they just went in to my being, and like I processed them. I either processed them really quickly, or I went into some kind of deep denial about them, because I feel like I should be more bruised from that than I am, as in emotionally bruised, and I didn't really take much of an emotional beating from it. I just feel like it just... Yeah, I've had 4 fights in the past 6 months. Some of them I got quite badly injured in. I don't know. It just feels weird that how did I process that so quickly? It can't be right. And I'm sure it will come back at some point. It will have to come back. I mean, bloody hell, 4 fights. Might have even been 5, I can't remember, but it's definitely 4. And, you know, one of them I came back with a bloody head and punched in the face and stuff, and sore ankle, I can't even remember, and my jumper was nicked, and I felt like I was going to be killed at one point, because there was like 4 or 5 of them after me, literally come running after me. I was like, okay, this is to begin with. It was just me against this other guy, and then his girlfriend was getting involved as well, starting trying to get me. I was like, oh fuck this. And then this car showed up, and like 2 or 3 other guys came out, and then it was like a whole bunch of guys coming after me. I was like, okay, now I actually am gonna die. Like, let's fuck off and get out of here now. Like, what was just a sort of scrap between two drunken idiots outside a pub, who had got too much anger and aggression in them, as in me and the other guy, turned into, oh shit, there's just loads of dicks all about to kill me. So I've got to get out of here. So I just jumped on my bike, pegged it, and got home. I went, and then woke up in the morning with like blood everywhere. And I'm going like, what the hell? And then that was the point where I was like, fuck this, I need to quit smoking, because I know for a fact that the cigarettes are driving me insane with anger. Because it was a constant like withdrawal from them. Every time I was trying to quit, I would withdraw. So I was always like, I was never a full-on smoker. Well, I was, but then when I started trying to quit later on in my smoking career, I started withdrawing a lot. So I would like have one and then wait for ages, and then have another one and wait for ages, and all that was doing was just putting my body in constant cravings for ages and ages and ages, and keeping my body on edge the whole time. And I never if I'd actually just stuck with a regular smoking routine and then just stopped cold turkey, it would have been much better. But because I was trying to cut down, all it did was just made my body really angry and raw, that I was constantly in nicotine withdrawal and nicotine cravings. Huh? Isn't that right, Buddha? Yeah, whatever. And so that was what was making me so angry and irritable, because I was like constantly in the stress. My body was constantly under the stress of craving a cigarette, and I wasn't giving myself the nicotine, so I was just in constant like craving, and I would only give myself just enough to keep me topped up. But it just meant I was getting angrier and angrier, and I was starting to attract shitty people towards me, because I was starting to react to people shittily. So I was just creating violence towards me by being a dick to people. Yeah, provoking people and stuff like that. Oops. So yeah. So where's that come from? Where did that come from, brother? You don't care, do you? Nope. Oh yes, I'm feeling like shit. My top half is just wrecked, man. I tell you what though, I'm liking having I have a drink after these videos, and maybe that's bad, but maybe I'm becoming an alcoholic. But whatever, I don't care. It's so good. I just have a nice drink, and it just relaxes me after these videos, because I talk for an hour solid about like old, deep, emotional stories and adventures and things, and some of them have been traumatic, and it's just like and then I get to the end and I'm like yeah, and it helps me to just kind of wind down and process it, and not even process it, just like relax is the best way to put it. Just relax, isn't it? Hey with your little toes. Oh, they're so cute with little toes. You don't mind that? Yeah, well, yeah, you're alright. He's become so real in the face now that I put those eyes on him, but his body's still a bit dodgy. I put a nipple on him there as well, because he didn't have nipples. I thought, if you're a Buddha, you got your nipple out, but you don't actually have a nipple there. But just because you're a spiritually enlightened being doesn't mean you suddenly lose your nipples overnight. Fuck. Imagine that. I'm enlightened. I've lost my nipples. And my eyes. Where have my eyes gone? I've become enlightened. I've lost my nipples and my eyes. That's the symptoms of ascension. So when if you wake up one day and you don't have eyes anymore, and you've suddenly lost your nipples, then you're like, oh, thank fuck, I'm enlightened. I've finally become enlightened now that my nipples are gone. Isn't that right, Buddha? But you've got one there, haven't you? Swirly little nipple. It doesn't quite look right, but it will do. Hey. Sometimes I try and piss him off on purpose. And he's like, yeah, whatever. Huh? What? You're just very quiet these days. Normally you'd say more. When I say more, you just look at him and you sort of feel like he's You just sort of interpret. It's sort of like a projection thing, isn't it? It's like you kind of read into the face whatever you want or whatever happens to be in the back of your subconscious instead, and you project it onto there. That's just how it happens, isn't it? Huh? It's like it's like having a cuddly toy. Hello, mate. Wake up then. You've got your eyes open now. Huh? Yeah? Yeah? In it? Ah. You're a liar. You're not happy when someone flicks your nose. Yeah? Okay, no, that's not. He doesn't like that. Sorry. Huh? Okay. Yeah. So, Fieros' story time. Where do we get to? Oh, well, I don't know really. We've just done so much, haven't we? Gone through loads of different relationships. Gone to America for random reasons. When you think about it logically, it is random, but it made sense at the time, and I'm glad I did it. I'm totally glad I did it, and I'm glad that I had mad reasons for it as well. Manifest, because those are the best reasons to do something, aren't they? Weird reasons. Ah? Ah? Well, yeah, I am trying to do the video. I am doing the video. He's saying, no, you're not doing the video. You're just messing around. I am doing the video. This is what I do. You know it's what I do. Yeah? Keep telling me to focus. I am focusing it. He's like, no, you're not. I am. Yeah. What? Huh? Anyway. I don't like my hair tonight. I was saying stuff about my hair yesterday on the other video. And see? Look what's happened now. It's gone to shit. And yesterday it was good. I think it's working on a 1 day on, 1 day off. You know, 1 day it's good, the next day it's shit. So tomorrow I'll wake up and it'll be like, yeah, this is wicked. Okay, enough of him. So, oh dear. I know I'm not really saying anything, but I don't think I have anything to say at the moment. I'm just kind of killing time. We could do the dictionary thing. Do you want to do the dictionary thing? I don't know. There's too many words in the dictionary. What a statement. There's too many words. That's the idioms, though. We could do idioms. Idioms are easier. Let's have a look at idioms. Opened at feelings. Okay. Joy and hope. To be someone's pride and joy. To be the special object of someone's love and pride. Why have I done this? Let's just not. Let's just sit here like dicks. Yeah. Come on then. It's your own time you're wasting. Yeah, I don't think I got any story today. Let's knock him over then. This is what would you call this? Nothingness. This is just talking nothing for as long as possible without actually saying anything, isn't it? What? Well, the thing with your eyes now, though, is that they're in a constant fixed expression, so his face does look very smooth. I'm just having a little moment. You two get a room. Face does look very smooth, and you've got giant earlobes. Like, how have you done that? Do you need earrings in there to justify that? You should get those little hoop ones, those hole ones. I don't know what they're called. They've got a special name, but those hole ones. You should get some tattoos, isn't it? Yeah. I should put something new in your hand as well. I usually have he's usually holding something like a penis. No, he's usually holding something that I want to energize. Like, I gave him a little thing about my career. I was saying, "Brother, help my career, please, and help my relationships, help my living situation, please." And to be fair to him, is that it there? No. Oh, what's that? Is that white tack? Could do with that. Yeah. Sorry about this. I don't have anything to say, so as I say, if you just want to have this in the background as a, as if there's some other idiot talking apart from instead of your own mind, then that's good, isn't it? Yeah, I gave him a little thing to hold, and you can hold the white tack if you like. You want to hold the white tack? I need a friend, don't I? You want that? Do you want that? He's thinking, why do I want that? Are you? Do you want it? He's like, I don't care. Of course. Do you want it though? Make a decision, please. Maybe that's what I'm projecting into Buddha at the moment, my indecisiveness. Are you happy with that? He's like, I don't care either way. He's the fucking Buddha. Like, what does it matter to him whether he's holding a thing or not? Huh? Ah, you can't get anything out of you today. Are you listening? He's thinking, yes, I am listening. Why are you being such a prick to me? Huh? I don't want the back talk. Oh, I think I pissed him off now. He's like, just fucking do the video, please. Alright, so, what else can I say? Oh, I'll tell you what, I'll put him up closer. So you can just meditate with him instead of listen to me talking. I'm only talking shit anyway. If you hadn't guessed. There he is. You can look at him. I'll just be in the background instead. Let's just swimming around. Okay. Hello. Okay, let's do a Buddha meditation instead. My name is Buddha. What am I doing? Let's give him some hair. This is weird. I'm being so weird right now. Oh well. Can you see that? Has he got hair? Or does it just look like me putting hair on him? That's my hair, Buddha. You crazy fucking hippie. Isn't Buddha the... There you go. You like that? He's like a girl. You are a girl. You're both a male and a female in one, aren't you? He looks so still, doesn't he? He's just kind of like... He just stays still. And everything else looks worse than he does. He looks like the brightest thing in the whole world. In the whole world. Let's put him right up close. You probably think like he's looking at you. He is. He's like, hello. He looks more real than me. I hated this. Why does he look more real than I do? This was happening with the artworks as well. The artworks were looking more real than me the other day. He just stays still the whole time. Of course, he's a statue. But he's also meant to represent stillness, though, isn't he? He's meant to represent stillness of mind and peace of mind and calm equanimity. So I suppose it's good to have him as a statue that just stays still the whole time, because in that way he's more of a representation of that inner stillness. Yeah. Alright, so what do you read into him then? What do you see in the Buddha? Apart from, I suppose, well, I see sort of happiness in a way. But he will sometimes talk to you, as in he'll remind you of stuff, or it will appear as though he's kind of trying to communicate with you something mentally, you know, psychically trying to sort of tell you something. Let's put them this way. What if I talk to him? Because this happened last time where hello. when I spoke to him before, I did the video addressed to you. Hello. When I did the video addressed to him instead of the you. I got really emotional all of a sudden. You don't want that white tack, do you? Yeah. So what should I talk about then? Tell me something about New York. I got homeless in New York. Yeah, remember that? Kind of got raped-ish, assaulted, whatever. I feel like saying raped, even though it wasn't like penetrative rape. It was the feeling of rape in a sense. You know, it wasn't violent or anything, but it was just like a sexual invasion. Remember that? What about that time when I was outside the Port Authority bus terminal and I tried busking somehow? I can't remember whether I used someone else's guitar or something, didn't I? Oh, what did I do? Do you remember? I remember going up and talking to a hot dog stand person and asking him for money. Maybe I can't remember. I did ask some people for money, just like begging. One person gave me like $7 or something, which is good. Yeah, so it was a long, cold night, wasn't it? Was it cold? It was long. I remember it being like I was just up through the whole night outside or in the bus terminal. Because I had nowhere else to go. That sucked, didn't it? What should I tell them about? I'm not going to tell them about Mrs. D yet. I don't even know if I can be bothered to talk about that. Huh? I can see his like psychic, his eyes. I can see his like psychic third eye thing changing every now and again. Like it's as though he's thinking, and you can see little thoughts, like clouds of thought, go over his eyes every now and again. Hello, Buddha. I'm gonna get mad at you. I'm already starting to get mad at you. Huh? You know, you can do this thing, by the way. If you get yourself a Buddha statue that's big enough that you can get quite close to it and meditate with it, that you can kind of merge your mind with that object so that you feel as though the object becomes you. It's called I don't know what it's called actually. It's called experiencing the world as God. So the world appears to be a manifestation of God. So that the outside world appears as a manifestation of yourself, that same God consciousness feeling. And you can do it with a statue like this, will help you to do that. Where you meditate on like the goal is to see the statue as yourself. So you recognize that the statue appears as a manifestation of yourself. So it appears to be looking like you, it feels like you, it seems like you. You resonate with that feeling from the inside and you empathize with that. And then you take it to another level where you're so fixated on the thing, the object, that it fades. the sensation of you being here and the object being there fades. So it just becomes like one thing happening. There's no sense of subject and object anymore. It's like just one thing happening. Oh god, I'm getting hot now. That's better. Sorry if this is a boring video. It's not the same as usual. I guess I just run out of steam for it. Okay. So, out of sight, out of mind, eh? You've ruined everything, you have. Buddha, indeed. I told you about my granddad. He died, and then the second one died much later. He died as well. And then I've got 2 grandmas left, so they're going to die probably before anyone else, I would imagine. Oh yeah, I stuck a blue curtain thing up there. So that's the death aspect, which is quite annoying. Also, something about life that's difficult or annoying is that when you go through like lots of minor traumas, like, or lots of difficult circumstances, which minor traumas, yeah, or like lots of arguments is minor traumas. Arguments are minor traumas. Heated arguments are like slightly bigger traumas. Violent events are major traumas. But each person experiences trauma differently. But I would say that a violent event, either witnessing a violent event in reality or having a violent event occur to you personally, someone attacks you or whatever, so I'd say that's a major trauma. Having loads of these happen, or even a few happen, or just lots of little ones happening over a course of time, but lots of them, it starts to get to you for one thing, but also it means you have a backlog of things to talk about. Pardon me, to get quite up to the present day, you have to go through like a load of like background stuff. Oh man. This is more like a therapy session, but you're the therapist. You're the therapist. So, Fieros' story time though. Maybe I picked the wrong title for this video. Like, maybe it shouldn't have been a Fieros' story time video. Because I'm a bit knackered for those stories. I'm a bit knackered for anything in general. What should I do? Why am I asking you? Why don't you tell me? No, that's the same thing. Why don't I ask myself, what should I do in this video? It's halfway through already. What should I do in this video? I could turn that background music off, see if that helps. Might be that's distracting me. Oh, it's really quiet now. Oh, it's really quiet. Maybe that's what this video is about. It's just more of a silence video, a relaxing video. Let's put the music back on. It's reassuring. Should we change it? Oh, stop bad vibes from the past. And stop unwanted thoughts and patterns. And let's do root chakra one. Oh, I don't like a root chakra one here. Oh, that's good. Well, that's better. I should have done that one to begin with. No, let's go back to the heart chakra one. Because that's the area in my body that's like a bit fucked at the moment. Grief. There's nothing in my brain at all at the moment. Apart from anger. I've got some anger in there. My right eye is twitching a little bit. And also, when I'm not talking, there's just like complete silence in my mind as well. So it's like, am I even alive? That's the weird thing. Like when you go into pure consciousness, like I can obviously see things and feel things. It's more like if I'm not focusing on the body, then I wouldn't know that I was alive, because the mind stops, and you're so used to the mind telling you that you're alive. But it's always saying stuff to the mind, eh? It's always going blah 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 about whatever you can see, whatever you can hear. The mind's got something to say about it. When the mind stops, it's like, shit. What else can I use as a reference point to know that I'm still alive? I'd like to just be able to relax into this feeling, because this is the goal that we're kind of looking for, is for the cessation of thought, is to be in that state of non-thinking. That's the purity of awareness thing that we're looking for, right? When we're meditating, when we're doing spiritual practices and whatever. This is the goal. And it's weird when it happens. When you're actually there for a long period of time, you're like, this is weird. Why is there no thinking? How can I be alive when there's no thinking? There's a question for you. How how else would you know you were alive if you weren't thinking? If your mind suddenly stopped, how else would you know that you're alive? And what would you how would it be? What would it be like if your mind just completely stopped thinking? Yeah, you're still aware. You're still carrying on. It's weird. It's really weird. And what I want to happen is for that to start feeling okay, to feel like it's normal, to just like sink back into it and just go, okay, fine. That's that's my true self, is the quietness, the quiet stillness, the quiet mind. Like that's what I've been telling you all about all this time. And now it's that's all there is. I was like this one time with a girl on the phone, and she was like, "You look like you're deep in thought," and I was like, "I'm actually in. There's no thought at all going on. I'm just, I mean, deep in awareness, just clear awareness, but there's no thought going on." But it's interesting how people will assume that you're thinking really deeply when you're not actually. I mean, I can feel my body like it's doing stuff, but my mind is just like tiny little traces of thoughts going like that, like swirly bits of um, dust in space or something. Let's just talk to the Buddha for a bit. No, no, no. It's like detention or something. I've taken you for a detention. Sit there in silence and listen to me saying nothing. Oh, one time, random experience. Uh, I think I'd been spending a little bit too much time with the Buddha, and I felt like when I went outside, the whole world was contained within a large Buddha's body. And I think that's actually an experience that other people have had on the spiritual path. I remember Gangaji, I think it was Gangaji or Muji, one of them was saying, Muji was saying that when Papaji, they've all got G in the end, G, um, when Muji was having his enlightenment experience, which was brought on by him talking with Papaji, uh, he said that he got pissed off with Papaji. Muji got pissed off with Papaji. It sounds so strange. Muji got pissed off with Papaji and was like, "Oh man, I'm leaving this retreat place, this ashram. I'm gonna get out of here because this guy doesn't know what he's talking about." And then all of a sudden, his mind just sort of melted away, and there wasn't that angry voice in his head anymore. And he said that he just saw Papaji's face everywhere, so it just appeared like Papaji was everywhere. Which is that's the experience of feeling like God is everywhere, feeling like the Buddha nature is everywhere, that your natural deepest self is in everything. Yeah. So, but I put the Buddha outside for a little kind of as a guard dog kind of thing. I love messing around with these things and like sticking them in different places and stuff. Uh, so yeah, I had him outside the front as a little guard dog for a while, and it's weird because like I could sense when I'm coming home, my mind would start tuning in to looking forward to seeing him, or like tuning into where he is and stuff. And like you could just tell the energy field around where the Buddha was different to everything else. And also like when I would leave the house, I would feel like my mind was still thinking a little bit about the Buddha as I was going away from home, and I could sort of sense my distance moving away from him. Does that make sense? So when I was walking, it would be like part of me was still remembering the Buddha and feeling my distance from him, kind of thing, as I was walking. And then the other time, there was like the whole universe was contained within this giant Buddha being. Like the hollow insides of the Buddha was the world, basically. That was pretty cool. And that's when I had the understanding that it was oh man, what is it? The world is a manifestation or an extended body. The world is the body of the true God self. So all the things that we see in the world and things we can touch is a manifestation, or it's like the body of God in the same way that our bodies are the body of our soul, if that makes sense. So the world is the body of God. So all the exterior things that we see is the body of God, and this is the body of our self, or our soul, which is also part of the body of God, or manifestation of God. So I understood that in that moment. I knew that quite clearly. That was just sort of obvious. But then these things, they come and go, they fade. So I had that realization. It wasn't an eternal realization. It was just kind of a fleeting feeling, and I knew it for a while. And I was like, oh yeah, I feel it as though the world is an expression, or as a manifestation, or as a body, is the body of God. I can feel that. I understand that. And then the next day, I'm like, oh, fuck this. I hate my life. I'm not thinking about the realization of Buddha nature and the world being a manifestation of God. The next day, I'm like, why? Why are cars so loud? You know, and stuff like that. So much for Fieros' story time. It's Fieros' sit around chatting about the Buddha time. I think, in one way, that self-realization is it kind of appears a bit inaccessible. That it doesn't seem like a normal thing. It seems like, oh, this big mystical thing, whatever. And I suppose what I would like to do, if possible, is to make it accessible so that you're just like, oh, it's just being normal, or it's just like being myself. That's self-realization, or that's God realization. It's just like relaxing. It's just being relaxed and enjoying life, and that's what it is. Or it's just like, oh, when I feel like I'm being normal, as in being myself, that's what it is. Yeah. Oh, when I'm having fun, that's all it is. Oh, enjoying life, that's all it is. Mm. Because teachers sometimes get very conceptual, and I've fallen into that trap before. Where you're trying to explain it with all these big words, and you're like, just be yourself. You don't actually have to sit there on a pillow for years to be yourself. You already are yourself. Eh? You already know the things that make you happy. You already know the things you want to do. You know, you've always known that stuff. You just got clouded for a while or confused by taking on other people's roles and identities for yourself. But you've always known yourself. You've always known what you wanted to do. That looks stupid. Why is my right eye twitching, Buddha? This only happens at certain times. I went through a period of time when I was like, because I'd read somewhere that, I don't know what I'd read really. Well, I had 3 Buddhas at one point, you see. I had 3 of these little buggers, and 2 of them got destroyed randomly. I randomly punched one in half. Another one's head fell off when it fell off. I just accidentally knocked it off a shelf. It fell on the floor and its head fell off. And that was quite disconcerting. Like an omen kind of thing. And then I glued the head back on. And then I chucked the other one away, the one that I punched in half. I got really angry. That was during my fighting phase. I even fought the Buddha, didn't I? Yeah. And, And I'm not kissing you. You got eyes now. That's weird. I think it was more weird when he didn't have eyes. Anyway, and you've got a nipple now, so definitely can't kiss you. Your big earlobes. Oh yeah. So, the Buddha fell off the shelf, and his head fell off. I was like, that's disconcerting. Because if these are spiritual beings, and they're supposed to sort of represent your true self, what does that mean? And my head's going to fall off? In the future, I will be decapitated. What does this mean as an omen? And the other one I punched in half, as I say. So I glued the head back on to let's call him number 3. I don't even know if this is the original one. It's not the original one, because the original one I painted white on there because I was trying to do this healing thing because my chest was feeling like crap, and I was trying to sort of paint an area of like a sort of patch of white on the parts that hurt on me, so, as a sort of soothing thing. It didn't really work. It just made him look terrible. Yeah, so that was stupid. Yeah, but I glued the head back on to the number 3 one. Actually, I think this is the number 3 one. Right, well, I glued the head back onto the other one, and that worked fine. That was going well. After I put it on a stick, by the way, I put the head on a stick for a while because I thought, well, if it's been decapitated, I should do what they used to do in the old days and put it on a stick. So I put it on a stick for a while, and I was like, this is really creepy. I've got this decapitated Buddha in the corner of my room on a stick. And so that didn't last long. I was like, I can't have that. It's just too creepy. So I glued it back on properly. Because there was also the torso of the Buddha with no head on it. It was just so creepy, man. I'm like, oh god. But you have to experiment with these things and go through them to realize how creepy they are. And if I hadn't done it, then I would have regretted it. I would have been like, oh, I should have put that Buddha's head on a stick. That would be the last thing I say before I die. Oh, I should have put his head on a stick. Ugh, and now I'm dead. Yeah. Oh, now you're warming up. Yeah. So, but I glued it together, as I say. And then what happened? Oh yeah. And then it burned in a fucking fire. Like, so random. We had a Christmas fire, like on Christmas Day. So we'd had the meal and stuff. Mum had had an argument with my gran over the meal about money, but it wasn't really about anything. It was just about being angry. I think the actual issues that were discussed, there were just nothing really. It's just Mum being angry at her mum, and my gran being angry at my mum. And also, remember that was the time when I was just started properly giving up smoking, so my anger was still there. And I believe that the anger in my energy field had created that situation, or attracted that situation. But luckily, I got off scot-free and no one was angry at me. But I think I'd infected the other people, because I had this big negative feeling in my body for a lot of the time during that period, and it had manifested as those fights before. But then I was giving up, and yet the negativity was still there. So I think that whole energy created the fight with my mum and my gran. Then my mum went into denial about the fight. So strange. So she got really angry at my nan for a while, and like went out of the room saying, "Right, I'm going to take you home then." And then she went into the kitchen for like 5 minutes or less, 2 minutes, and come back in. And she was like, "Do you want cream with your dessert, or do you want evaporated milk?" To my nan. I was thinking, I swear you just said you were going to take her home. Like, well, how have you done that? I don't understand how people do that. I mean, like, how can you go from saying you're going to take him home and like that's it, kind of, you've pissed me off, and then come back in and like pretend as if nothing has happened at all in the last 5 minutes? I don't understand that, And if anyone tries to pull that shit with me, then I don't let that happen. As in, my mum has tried to do that with me before, and I've gone like, don't you think we need to actually talk about what's just happened? Because I'm not going to let that just slip away into the fucking abyss of time and pretend that you weren't just an asshole to me. Yeah. Anyway, so after the fight went down and was obviously buried into the pits of the subconsciouses of my mum and my nan, I still knew. I was like, well, I haven't tuned my awareness out from it. It's obvious that they've had a big old fight. Now they've tried to pretend that nothing's happened. For fuck's sake. Christmas, though, isn't it? Christmas is always more tense than other times. I don't know why. Because you actually have to talk to people. And you're thrown together for long periods of time. Maybe there's no escape. Help! Pardon me. And it can be a really great experience. It used to be a really great experience. I think the recent Christmases have been shitty because everyone's fucking dying, basically. And the family is like in different places now. So it's just not the same as it used to be when I was younger. So I think everyone feels that to some degree. Like my dad has got his partner, and she's got a child, so 2 children actually. So he's got kind of a surrogate family over there. And my first granddad died years ago, like many years ago, 15 years or something ago. And then my second granddad died maybe 5 years ago, not sure. I need to check on that. Yeah, so he died like, let's say 5 years ago. And then like my auntie's mum died recently as well. And then my brother, he's not dead. My brother got married and now he has a child, so they live in a different area at the moment. So the whole family, as compared with where it was like 5 years ago, has completely changed. So everyone has Christmas in a different way with their different respective families. as compared with when, like, it would be me, my dad, my mum, my brother, my my granddad, my nana, my other granddad, and then we might see my auntie and uncle and my cousin. So it was a big like family thing. And now Christmases are kind of like me, my mum, and my nan, and then we might see my brother and his wife and his kid on Christmas Day, but usually not at the moment. They're usually staying at home for the moment. Uh, and then we might see them on Boxing Day, and I'll go and see my dad on Boxing Day and see my brother on Boxing Day with my dad and stuff. So it's all a bit kind of split apart, and I think that everyone feels that in a way. I certainly feel it, but I think each separate member of the family also feels like things aren't the same as they were before, whether they say it or not. Because it's obvious that things are very different than how they used to be. Oh yeah, and so my nan had to go at my mum about the divorce thing. Like, she said, "Oh, you shouldn't have divorced him," or because the reason that they got divorced, one of the reasons from like early on was that my mum had an affair. But they kind of figured that out, and then my dad just wasn't into it. My dad had just grown distant from my mum, and my dad just didn't want to be with her anymore and wanted a new change, whatever. He just wasn't in love with my mum anymore. So yeah, and it was just a kind of cold and distant relationship by that point. They'd been together for like 30 years, and they'd just grown apart. They had their kids, and they raised us, and then they found that through the years they hadn't really grown together. They'd grown apart. So they broke up, and my dad got a new partner, girlfriend, fiance, whatever, and my nan was like, "Oh, you shouldn't have had an affair, and you've never saved any money, blah blah blah, whatever. For all that time you were with him, you never saved any money." So they had a like Barney about that. My mum got really angry at my nan. She was like, "Such an insult," and stuff. And I was just sat there. I was just sat there quietly watching, hoping that the fucking attention didn't turn on to me, and it didn't. So I was like, "Yes, I'm so glad that I can just sit here and be the observer rather than this all firing off at me." Because normally shit would go down against me at Christmas because I got told off by my mum one year because I was sitting there reading a book when I should have been doing something to help or whatever. So that was annoying. Yeah. Oh yeah, and get to the fire. Even though I've already told this story before in a different, maybe not on this channel actually, so let's tell it here. So my mum was taking my nan home. She's in a wheelchair, so she needs to have a lift to her home, and she was living just around the corner. But she's moved from there now, so things are going to be even more different this Christmas. Don't even know what the fuck's going to go on this Christmas. Fucking hell, we haven't even thought about that. Jesus. And man, and so my mum was taking my nan home, just in the car around the corner, but it took a while because my nan can't walk, can't walk very well at all. Very, very slowly. It takes like 5 minutes to go from like there to there. And I was up in my room having done as much Christmas as I could be bothered with. And my mum came home, and I was just like lying in my room. I think I was either playing Sonic or like watching something. I think I was playing Sonic. Sonic 2, good game. And and I just heard Mum saying, "Smoke, smoke, smoke." Originally, I just heard this. Mum was obviously agitated and like shouting, like, "Smoke, smoke." I didn't hear what she was saying to begin with. I was like, "What?" It was just like like a barking noise of a dog downstairs, and and I opened my door because I was like, "Oh shit, some shit's going down," And I opened my door. I was like, "Fucking hell!" And I knew straight away what it was. There were these candles that we'd been burning because it was Christmas, yeah. So they'd burned down, and then they were in these like little candle holder things made of some styrofoam type of thing, which was weird. Like, that's a bit silly to have them in there, but they were old and they'd always been used, and they were flammable. But normally someone would have blown them out, but they just hadn't blown them out. And came downstairs, and I knew exactly what was happening straight away because I've had fucking candle fires in my room before. Because I used to be into burning candles a lot because they cleanse the energy and stuff like this. But they're dangerous. One time I was having sex, and a pillow fell on a candle and set on fire. And so the fucking pillow was on fire while I was having sex. I had to like whack it against the wall, and like just chucked it against the wall to put it out, and it put it out. And I was like, shh, like smothered it against the wall, and it left this smudge of burnt plastic on the wall, which I had to scrape off afterwards. That wasn't fun. What it was kind of cool, but very also scary and dangerous, and like, don't do it again. But it was a good story. Like, this sex is on fire. Yeah. Okay, so so I knew exactly what was happening. I was like, it's those fucking candles, and I went straight down. I just like straight to the kitchen to get some water in a jug, whatever, and I poured it over the remaining bits that were burning, and that was fine. I put it out. I just sort of had a moment where I thought, is this the type of fire that is okay with water? And I was like, yes, it's fine. So I just went like that, put it all out. But there was black smoke everywhere in the lounge, and there's still some like blackening of the paint in different places from where the smoke was so thick and black. And because it was like this plastic stuff that had burned, and it had also burned down the whole of the Buddha, which is part of the story, yeah? So it was the one that I glued the head back on, poor guy. The stuff that was burning had like dripped down, because I'd put the Buddha like underneath the candles on the fireplace thing. Ironic that the candle was burned down on the fireplace rather than being in the fire. If they were in the fire, it would have been fine, because there's a fire gate thing, protection thing. Yeah, so it like dripped down from, like, all the melty stuff had dripped down and gone like onto the Buddha, and he'd started burning, and so his whole chest and face was all black, which was a total symbolic representation of how I felt on my body from the smoking stuff. I felt like my lungs were like, and my face had it on it as well, this kind of smoky feeling on my face. So it was so strange, it was so uncanny that so many weird things happened, and the Buddha set on fire and turned to black, and it's like, oh my god, it's so weird. It's like really, it just seemed to be a real, what do you call it? Symbolic representation of the feeling that I was having inside was suddenly expressed outwardly. Yeah. And that's the end of that story. I chucked the Buddha away, the fire Buddha, because I was like, he's dead. He's burned in fire. Well, there you go. Manifest. Fieros' story time. Catch you later.